Welcome to the February 10, 2015 meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Mr. Delaney?
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, mailed to all persons requesting notice and providing payment in accordance with Township policy.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for the individuals serving our nation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding so that every deliberation will result in action which will promote the common good and general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
The clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Phelan?
Here.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Here.
Mayor Winterfield?
Here. There are no presentations scheduled for this evening. At this time, are there reports or comments from any volunteers serving our community? Ed?
Okay, Ed Engelbart, Township Historian and member of the Pequannock Township Historic District Commission. By now, I think all of you should have received a letter that's being put up by the Historic District Commission. This is based upon discussions we had with Mayor Winterfield and with members of the Historic District Commission, and we found a date on the calendar to utilize Senior House on Monday, February 23rd. What it is a invitation to groups of individuals as well as community organizations to come to a meeting to discuss and brainstorm ideas for celebrating the 275th anniversary of Pequannock Township. As you all know, Pequannock has its origins in 1740. And we are one of 3 communities that were founded in 1740. At the time, we were the largest of the communities. Today, we're a little over 7 square miles. This date, in a sense, is a milestone. I don't know how things are going to be in the 200th anniversary. Let me know. I'll be across the street. Okay. In the meantime, with regard to the celebration, we are trying to get input and ideas from large numbers of organizations in town. We've sent out emails to town groups and organizations. We've also sent out letters to the principals of the schools in town. I've also touched base with the superintendent of schools, and we'll see how this all works out. We definitely would like to get the schools involved with some kind of research projects or just simply projects which they would create on town history. In addition, one of the things that we are also looking for is to set up 2 banners in each of the business districts of Pequannock Township. Marking the 275th anniversary. One would be in the Plains District and the other in the Pequannock District for business. In addition, we are thinking of perhaps maybe having some smaller banners similar to what you see on the decorative poles, part of the streetscape, not on every pole, again, pointing out the 275th of our community. We've also reached out to the library and the Friends of the Library and a whole host of other organizations such as the Legion, Unico, and one of the places we're also going to try to reach is Cedar Crest as well. In fact, last week I received a phone call from a person up at Cedar Crest that is looking for a few lectures up there on town history or things associated with our community. So this is what we're trying to do. At that meeting, we're going to try to get whatever input we can to come up with a series of activities that might take place. Some of the activities we're thinking of is using the hoedown period, perhaps maybe something dealing with a picnic, a residence picnic with guests at PV Park, and we have also talked about the possibility of maybe a formal dinner night celebrating the 275th, perhaps sometime in the fall. So these are some of the things that have been talked about by the Historic District Commission. Nothing is in concrete because we want that community engagement, the community involvement. If you know if you know organizations or individuals that you think would be interested, please tell them to show up at Senior House on February 23rd at 7:30, where we're going to have a open session to try to get input on this date in our town's history.
And Ed, it's basically a coordination. The Historic Commission isn't going to take it over. They just want to make sure that all the events are coordinated, and we're going to set up a web page where people can interact.
Right, well, we'll have to put some money aside for this too, because
Yeah.
it's not gonna be free.
Yeah, the Historic Commission, yeah. Some of the banners, they're cheap.
Inexpensive.
Oh, yes, excuse me, inexpensive.
Well, I will be
I will teach you.
interacting with the town manager on that issue, okay? And I know you are discussing your budget tonight. and-
No, we're not,
No,
not
that's
tonight.
Not tonight,
No,
but
we
we
will
might
be
have some
soon.
input in some fashion or other, or there might be some material that might come from the town manager with regard to the budget. But I have spoken to Dave, and hopefully you'll be supportive of some of these activities, which will involve some dollars.
Yeah, we realize that.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's a good cause,
celebration,
yeah.
yeah, it's promoting our
Yeah,
holiday.
it's, you know, it's one of these celebrations that I think the town will benefit. You know, come the spring, hopefully our business district will be back into a more normal look in terms of the roads, and it's an appropriate time to begin to put up those banners and saying, we've been here for 275 and we hope to be here for another 275 or longer.
Right. Here's a copy of the letter. If you can give that to Joe, the paper, if he can put something in the paper for us.
To whom?
Down.
Oh, I gave a copy
Does
already.
he have a copy of it? Okay.
Yes, I gave a copy to Joe, and Joe hopefully will be kind enough to twist some arms at the Suburban Friends
I'm sure he will.
to get this information in the public knowledge. So that's all I have to say, and I thank you very much for your past support. Needless to say, I have another statement. I understand that the town manager has seen Mrs. Bogert, and I hope things will go well with that negotiations. And needless to say, the Historic District Commission and the Friends of the Martin Berry House are looking forward with the results from that negotiations that will take place. There is one other thing that I do want to pass out here or give you. As you know, I sent you some notice that I've been appointed to the Morris County Historic Preservation Trust Fund Advisory Board, which I think is the longest named board in Morris County. Excuse me? Well, we'll see what happens. On that board is a member who's involved with the Board of Public Utilities. Okay, she works for them, and she has been giving members of the board material on energy activities, energy savings. And this is some material that I had gotten from her. It also has the name of a person who's called an ombudsman, and this person is a person that could be contacted for energy audits, and I don't know how this would be utilized in terms of what your decision would be on it, but I just want to pass this out to the town. This type of material here is actually something that the state is interested in when it comes to historic sites. They're trying to tell the different groups that have historic buildings to do energy audits to cut their costs in any operations of historic sites. So that's what's involved with that.
Thank you.
And at this point, I'll leave it at that, unless you have some questions. Jimmy? Well, that there, I don't have enough copies, but, you know, I think it should be looked at by administrative staff, and then it could be passed on and see, or copies be made, and then see what's what, rather than, you know, try to, you know, ask you to provide questions on that. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other volunteers? No?
Oh wait, that one here.
Caught me with my coat still on, not really in my seat yet.
Take your time.
It's because I work till 6 o'clock. Anyway, Louise Marchese, Recording Secretary of EDC. Proud to announce that we have a new member, Kelly Florio. Her term will go until 2017. We still have one vacancy, if anyone is interested. And we have some information about the Property Tax Rewards Program. It was said that from last May up until now, the tax credits are a total of $25,700. The projection for the next year should be $32,000. This represents sales over the, as I said, since last May of $300,000. Projection for the next year, $400,000. Hopefully. Okay, we had an article last month in the Sunday Trends that our chairperson put together, and it outlines what EDC does, and it also speaks about the Property Rewards Program. So we are getting the word out there as best we can. We plan on putting flyers once again in the next tax bill, July, August, whenever, which outlines the Property Tax Rewards Program. If anyone did not receive the initial cards that we sent out, we'll be telling them how they can get that card. And it also a reminder to people that may not remember to use it when they go into the retail stores in town. We're planning on inviting a gentleman by the name of Mike Simone from Pompton Lakes. In Pompton Lakes, he's involved in something called the BID program. This has to do with improvement to the business district. And as I said, Pompton Lakes is doing it. We're going to invite him to come and speak to our group. And then the event that we hope to have this year with the businesses, we'll invite Mike back again to outline their program and introduce it to the businesses in town. We have two grand openings. One is already opened. They bought Jackie's Grooming on the Pequannock end of town. The new name is Bark Avenue, which is dog grooming, located at 139 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Pequannock end of town. Owner is James DeRosa, and they're going to be having a grand opening this month. They've requested. The other business, it hasn't opened yet. I put a call into them today, asking them if they would be interested when the time comes to having a grand opening. The name of the business is called Tiny Trends, and it's a children's consignment store, 163 Newark Pompton Turnpike on the Pequannock end of town. And that's all I have to speak about. Thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? The next item on the agenda, public comments. This public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period of public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized to come to the microphone and provide your name and address for the record. Alberta?
Good evening, Alberta Oliva, 75 West Parkway. I think that as a community and as a council, Bill Piera and his crew need to be commended. They have done a magnificent job. And I also know that there were quite a few men that worked for 22 hours, correct, Dave, on the water leak. it was cold. It was very cold, and I drove to see if they needed coffee. I saw coffee cups in their hands because I was going to go get them coffee, but they need to be commended. I mean, look at the condition of our roads. They just did an outstanding job, and I'm very fortunate that those men were for us and with us. I have a question for you, Mr. Manager. Where is the new rug on your list? At the bottom still?
It's in here, no.
It's in here someplace. It is actually in there.
We'll find it.
Carpet replacement is a capital item for 2015, which would include this.
So, I mean, 2015 is a long time, 12 months. When do you think we're going to get new carpeting?
We have to approve the budget first.
Yeah,
Well, that'll be approved, you know that.
Assuming the budget process moves forward smoothly, sometime during the summer, we would normally have our capital funding in place in June or July, and that's fairly.
And are you going to do the squares so that if something gets soiled, we just remove the square and replace it?
Yes, we did do some of that replacement, and we did some primary areas of town hall because there were some safety concerns in terms of the carpets that were there, and they're used much more frequently in here, which is why they were done first. We have started using some of those squares in areas, and so far,
It
so
worked
good.
well?
So as long as they continue to hold up, and we expect that they will,
Good.
we'll use the same thing.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We did the squares at one time.
Rocco?
Rocco Solution, 153 Jackson Road. I went through the town things on the computer, where it says about Pequannock, I forgot what they call it. I know the website, but I want to be what probably the mayor came up with the phrase about Pequannock that has, two sections in it. One is Pequannock, the other one is
Oh, I came up with
that. I don't know whether it was you're doing or somebody else.
That's from years.
No, I think that was done in the last couple of years or so, because it used to be,
That's
you have
very old.
Pequannock Township encompasses two community. One is Pequannock, the other one in Pompton Plains, and that's completely false. We have one township, which is Pequannock, and he has many community in Pequannock. It could be the Glens, it could be any place, okay? There's no 2 or 3 or 4 town in here. It's
You would
only
like to
one.
see that rewritten.
It's only one.
Maybe we'll ask
Pequannock
our township
Township.
historian to help.
And I know a lot of people that they like to say, well, I live in Pompton Plains, where gee, who, what. This is Pequannock Township, and it's about time we get into people's head that it's Pequannock Township. Not Pompton Plains, not downtown Pequannock, in
How
the
about
dumps
Rocco,
and
the
anything like
historic
that.
commission will take that on as an
Okay, it
agenda
would be
item.
greatly appreciated if we could just send them from one town and one purpose.
We'll come up
Thank
with a
you.
recommendation for you.
Hey, Rocco, just make a real quick comment. I tell people when you call 911, Pompton Plains Police Car does not show up at your house.
Right.
I gotta tell you something, that would happen over there would be a very, very rich man. I'll sue the town and everybody inside there like you can't believe.
We'll
It's
take care
Pequannock
of it.
Township, and there will always be. If it's Pompton Plains over there, then
But that is
then we
very
better
old. You know,
try to
Rocco?
succeed or something. Excuse
Rocco,
me?
you know how old that is? Because those same wordings is in
Ed-
Glenn's documents.
Between you
That's
and me.
how old that is.
No, between you and me and the lamppost, it was designed that way because downtown Pequannock or whatever it is inside there used to flood. And a lot of people don't want to be associated with the low life down there, That was the way it was
We'll dig
explained.
into the background and we'll come up with a recommendation.
Excuse me, but
In all honesty, I gotta tell you, in all honesty, if you talk to anybody who sells houses, there is a distinction in price and whatnot in town.
Well,
Okay.
Dave says he can give us a little bit of background. I'd be interested to hear it.
That wording comes from a description of the town that was written for a 1978 bond sale and was part of the official notice. It was written by a previous administration before even I.
I agree.
That same wording has been reused on multiple documents
I-
many times. And if I can just,
Yeah, go ahead.
Let him
I
finish.
understand your objection. I do, and I understand why. Because, you know, we're very cognizant that we are Pequannock Township. Everyone in local government, we're Pequannock Township.
And I do know that.
But there's this concept called place names, which, you know, I think Ed will back me up on this. Going back to colonial times, before there were municipal governments, you know, you went to Jones's Corner, or you went to so-and-so.
Or you went to the village.
People, you know, areas were known by their place names, and those place names have significance, and they continue on today. And there are many communities, almost every community in New Jersey is made up of a series of place names. And if you look at things, even in Morris County, like Roxbury, which has 5 localities, 5 place names, they're all represented in their seal with the logos and place names, 5 separate places. They're actually proud of the fact that they're made up of 5 different place names.
In all honesty.
If you look at Montville, they've got 3, and Wayne has 6 or 7. So it's not unusual to have place names, and that's the history of why it's identified as 2. You know, Pequannock Township is made up of, and maybe we should change the wording to, you know, historically, current day Pequannock has 2 historical place names in it, or something like that. But they're part of history, and that's what makes us.
I don't mean to bash on anything like that, but I grew up in Patterson, where we used to have People's Park section, Sandy Hill, anything like that. When push came to shove, we addressed the town as Patterson. You want to pinpoint exactly where do you live in Patterson, then you say Sandy Hill section, People's Park section. The same thing it should be over here. When somebody said to you, where exactly do you live in Pequannock? Okay, you leave in the glance, you leave in, I don't know, by another section that I can't remember right now, but you got about 5 or 6 sections over here, and then you can say downtown.
It's hard to change names.
Like
too,
it's
because
been addressed
Old
a lot of
Chilton.
times.
I always say Old Chilton. I
Chilton
don't
County.
call it anything but Old Chilton, you know. Names die hard.
I understand that it's a very, very hard way to break the habit once you send it to it, and then you have the individual peoples that they like to keep their way because they, excuse my language, they're trying to be a little snobbish.
Well,
in all due respect, not here on the council, at least
well, you'll
some
always have
individual.
that, Rocco, but we can work on rewording it.
Okay.
We can work on that.
All I'm saying is, when it comes down to even tax appeals inside here, I tell you, I know 3 or 4 people that they use that thing. I live in Pequannock, so the Pequannock and Pompton Plains, I deserve a break, because if I were to sell my house compared to another house in Pompton Plains, it would be a huge difference, and it is. So it's a fact. It's not that I'm trying to bash anybody or trying to do anything. It's a fact of life.
Oh, we'll work on the.
So, and it's a little bit at a time. I've been preaching this here now for the last 8 or 10 years. At least you guys know me.
Well,
It's
you
got
will always
nothing-
hear us say. You will always hear me say. Pequannock
Yeah,
Township.
absolutely, absolutely. But the point, even when you call, even like you said, if you call the police and say, Pompton Plains, and they don't show up,
not coming.
mine is dialed into the police over there. They show up even if I don't do anything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Louise Marchese, 29 years at 16 Roland Road, and I'm going to make you laugh at first. I find that when people ask me where do you live in town, if I say by the river, they think it's Pequannock Avenue. They don't realize that the river keeps going.
Right.
It's not- So what I've been saying, I say I live by Schaefer's property, and they know exactly where I live.
How's that go over?
One of the things the second thing I wanted to say is I want to thank the council and town manager for the monies that are allocated to the committees, because it gives us a chance to be creative and to follow through on our missions to the township. And the last thing I wanted to ask is, do you know if we are in fact going to receive the homestead rebate in May?
You want to know if
The state,
Yeah.
the homestead rebate.
I don't
from
know. I
last
only know
year,
what I read on the
that's
website. I don't know.
We're not privileged to that information. It's a need to know.
You don't know until his budget is adopted. Really.
Well, yeah, I would pay attention to his budget address, because that's where he normally sets out the framework for what his plan is.
He recently took away food stamps from many seniors,
Yeah.
but we could all agree that he's eating well. I'm sorry, I know I'm being sarcastic, but you want to know something? This is the stuff that keeps seniors here in town. This is the stuff that is keeping us here. We need this help. Might just be a couple of hundred, but, you know, you start adding it up with the $250 you get for being a senior and the few dollars we get from the state, and you put it together, and that's how we're able to do it. So, the last I heard, we're supposed to get it in May. I just thought maybe you knew. I
check
asked
every
the
so
tax
often just
department
to
too.
read
I
to
know.
see
They
where
went.
it's at, and I haven't seen the website page
Okay,
change.
so we'll
Yeah,
all keep our ears open. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Sharon?
Good evening, Sharon Taylor, 19 Libby Avenue, Pompton Plains section of Pequannock Township. Zip code 07444. I'm not ashamed of where I live. I've grown up here my whole life, and I can't tell you, it's so stupid when you hear people
I didn't even know the
I've never
difference.
separated myself from anybody. I have friends from all over this township that I grew up with, and I was never ashamed of where anybody lived or
Me neither.
where they came from, so. And I grew up in Clifton too, so, you know, you have a lot of sections there as well. That's right, it's 4 blocks from Patterson, so you get to hear what people used to say about us, so. Just to tag on to the carpet, since the budget's all fresh and new this year, are we getting new seats out here too?
Seats, wow.
I thought we were gonna refurbish this room.
No, carpet's on the table. We hadn't looked at seats,
Oh, really?
really.
The budget's brand new though, David, come on, we could spend some money.
Well, we have to decide
Next year?
how much we want taxes
What
to
do you
go
want,
up or
the
not.
carpet or the seats? All right, well, let's do the carpet first, and then next year, can we tag on the seats?
Sharon, look at this carpet,
I
it's
know,
disgusting.
I know. But the seats are falling apart too.
Right, that's what you're supposed to do. Put a piece of furniture right over the top there, right?
We could just move the podium over, right? So, no seats this year, next year? Or you'll think
I
about it?
don't know, maybe.
Maybe we could find them on the sale of the GovDoc, you know, that
Gov.
website. You know,
You need
maybe
the charge
charge by
card.
getting rid of theirs.
I'll take care of it, give me the charge card. David?
We could probably search for someone to get rid of them.
When are the budget,
Thursday we start, then the following Tuesday, then Thursday.
Right.
Thursday, all right, I missed. So
Right,
next
The budget.
Thursday?
Next Tuesday, next Thursday.
Mhm.
Next Tuesday, next Thursday. Okay, so.
But there's certain nights designated to certain things. Capital is not first.
Oh, okay.
Capital is next Thursday,
What time, 7?
6.
6,
And is it in that room again?
Yes.
probably, yeah.
And we welcome your attendance.
And your input.
I'll see you next year. I'll be good, I promise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Pumpkin.
Anyone else? We're good? There being no additional public comments, we'll continue with the agenda. There are no public hearings scheduled for this evening. Next on the agenda, ordinance for introduction. Mr. Delane?
Yes, this is titled Ordinance Number 2015-01, an ordinance to amend Chapter 124 of the Code of the Township of Pequannock, Section 124.06, entitled Fee for Refuse Collection and Disposal.
Dave, you want to?
Yeah, based on our initial budget review, our costs for solid waste have not increased as they had been anticipated when we put the current rate in place 4 years ago. So this ordinance will revise the existing rate structure, which called for a $20 annual increase in the solid waste rate for 2015, and keep it at the 2014 rate of $400 per year or $100 per quarter.
So we could skip the discussion and just approve this, right, Mayor?
Unless anybody has any, I mean, I.
Oh, I don't know, I'm not really happy about keeping it low.
No, I think
We can move it.
that we were able to keep it at the same rate.
It's amazing. Is it okay to move that? Okay.
I'll
I'm
make-
at the other table.
Right, well, I'll make a motion then,
All right,
to introduce this.
okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Actually,
roll
just
call?
for the record,
You just move it?
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Phelan,
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff, Mayor Winterfield.
Yes. All right. That was easy. Okay, the next agenda item is the resolutions. Mr. Delaney?
Yes, there are a number of resolutions. First, Resolution R 2015-50, authorizing the release of designated escrow deposits. Resolution 51, authorizing the tax collector to cancel tax sale certificate number 2014-012, which is held by the township. Resolution 52, authorizing the reinstatement of special assessment installment payment plan. Resolution 53, authorizing tax office refunds, overpayments, or cancellations. 54, authorizing submission of the 2014 recycling tonnage grant application. And Resolution 55, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the January 23rd bill list. And I think that is actually incorrect. That should read the February 5th bill list.
Are there any comments on the resolutions?
Nope, so
No, looks good.
I would make a motion to approve 2015-50 to 2015-55.
I'll second it.
And what about the other one?
What other
We already did that one.
But we didn't vote to approve it, we just introduced it, right? Then we have to.
Yeah, we voted on
We
it.
went ahead and
It was introduced, we discussed it at the
No,
next
the
meeting.
Yeah, we introduced the ordinance.
Okay, all right, yeah, I got you, okay, all right, yeah, I'm good, all right,
Next meeting we vote on.
yeah, right. I'm good.
So we have a
We got a motion.
We got a first and second.
You got that, Jay?
Yes, I have a motion by Mr. Vanderhoff, seconded by Mr. Phelan.
Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Phelan,
yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff,
Yes.
Mayor Winterfield.
Yes. Next item on the agenda are items for discussion.
Rolling right along.
I guess the first one's the historic preservation. Everybody got the email based on everything that Bob had sent them. Did anybody have time to read it, digest it? Any comments?
I read it and I don't see any reason why we need to change anything.
Okay.
I don't believe that we should be giving them statutory authority to I guess, designate historic items or places or whatever.
Right.
I think the way they're set up is they come to the council, they advise the council, and the council can make the decision from there.
Okay.
We don't need to give that authority to somebody else.
Well, that was just a suggestion. That was for discussion. It wasn't really in concrete.
Okay,
I
so
mean, I wanted to
I'm just
ask
making
him.
my
Yeah.
opinion known.
Jay?
It's been working fine, so I don't see any reason to change it.
Mm-hmm. Dave, did you have a chance to read it, or?
I really didn't have a chance to read it, but, you know, just scanning over it, I'm fine with the way it has been, so.
Mm-hmm. Melissa?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like, again, reading what Bob had put together, you know, as far as, you know, do we want to consider designating the property as historic and implementing the regulations and, you know, all that type of stuff. I mean, I think it's working fine. Why we would want to then let the commission.
Well, the
take
Historic
that over.
Commission had requested that we take a look at it, so they were asking for our input.
Yeah,
Well, we haven't had really a chance to talk with it at the Historic Commission either, because this kind of, we asked for it, it came really fast, and nobody had really time to even, like, talk about it.
I guess go ahead, I was gonna say, I guess I'd be interested to know, like, how many possible structures could there be, you know,
Right.
in that type of situation?
Right.
And that might be a reason for a discussion on whether it's something we wanna give to the commission.
You know, it's really, the second question really is what we do with the commission. The first question really is, do we want to start designating historic structures and regulating that? Because if we don't want to do that,
Then there's no
really
need.
not much point in
Right.
going to a commission form. And as Rich said, giving away jurisdiction when we really aren't, if we're not prepared to start doing designations and regulations, there's really not a lot of.
Why did we call them a commission in the first place?
Why do we use that terminology? I
Yeah.
don't know, other than in that world, Historic Preservation Commission tends to, instead of committee, tends
So I guess that was misleading to others when they go or compare themselves with other towns and things.
I can understand that, because
Right.
normally when the term commission is used, it refers to the statutory commission, which you can see by the statute.
Right.
Has a fair amount of authority and power in the
Right.
municipality over that subject
Right.
matter. So clearly, we did not establish that. It's pretty clear in our ordinance, we have an advisory committee.
Bob, if we start changing it and designating specific areas,
Right.
does that put the homeowner at risk of what can actually be done to that?
Sure, that's the point.
Absolutely. Well, I think they have to be part of it too.
They
They
are-
have to be part of it. They have to,
No,
Don't they have to?
They don't have to agree.
Yeah.
It's not a voluntary kind of thing.
Yes,
It's-
they would be-
I don't think we should do that.
Well, you know what, since this.
But they are typically, you're right, part of that discussion process.
Right, they're not left out of it. It's not like you come in with a heavy hammer and say that. Well, I would think that if this council thinks differently, and I would think everybody should sit down and think of it, maybe we should really change the name to something more appropriate in the ordinance.
I don't even know, I don't think there's any difference between commission and,
There is, people the way you look at what a commission does. A commission has power usually.
We've had this discussion in the
Over
past.
EDC.
Right.
Right.
EDC commission.
It's still wrong on that.
Right, but they don't have any power over anything, none of the commissions.
Well, we should think about it as we go forward and we look at things like that, you know.
Well, I don't think name is, it's like Pompton, Plains, and Pequannock, is it?
Oh, but there's
really that
intent between
important?
them, commission usually means power, it really does, that they have some kind of voting power. It usually does. So it's just, we live this way, and it's no big deal, but when you sit in a group with other people, it's just like we're the Faulkner Act, we go to other people, and like you're a mayor and you're a mayor, but you don't have the same power,
No.
you know?
You're just
Yeah.
first of, what's the terminology?
You like that, huh?
First of equals, right?
Right. Yeah, like equals, right, exactly. Well, I would say, based on the discussion, we would just table it for now, just leave it. I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying, and I don't think the committee is looking to have power, they're just looking to have it read more about what they do. It's it's like a couple lines, it really doesn't say what they do. Maybe they need to come up with a mission and that we would adopt and let them have the mission be more
Let them come up with
appropriate.
a name.
Something, well, not even a name, but a mission that's more appropriate for what they do.
They advise the
That's
council.
what would happen,
That's what
that's
they
why
do.
Yeah.
how many structures could we be talking about?
No big deal, no
They've
room.
been doing it well for a long time.
They're very active, yeah, there's no need to mince words and all that stuff. But they just did ask me to bring it out, and so they'll understand loud and clear exactly what their mission is. Next item, canvassing, soliciting. Did everybody have a chance to read what Bob rewrote?
Right, Kathy, can I start on this one? I'm mayor.
Sure, you can be first.
You know I like to say a lot. I think we're getting way over with this. We're getting too much into detail. I think that possibly we want to ask the residents, maybe through a website, a questionnaire on the website or
Like
whatever.
a survey or
A
something?
survey, right, on the survey that we're gonna do. The big problem, in my opinion, is people are not gonna understand this, do not knock.
Right.
Where it's gonna be on their shoulders to call the police, and the police are gonna come and say, okay, you file the complaint, and you go to court, you take the day off to go to court. It's gonna be very hard for, the town to administer this.
Right.
It's just gonna be a nightmare from the time I've lived in this town, I've had my door knocked on maybe twice now.
Well, what scares me about it is a crazy infomercial that I caught the other day was about when it said it was teaching people to target people who have these stickers on their doors, that they're people who are probably more susceptible to be a weak person to accept somebody pushing a hard sale on them, which was a really weird spin on it. I had never seen that before.
Well, I would ask that we table this and put maybe a questionnaire on the website or whatever, because I think this is just a little bit too complicated, and I think that it's gonna be very hard for,
Well, I think that's a good
I see
idea.
changing the time. for the
Yeah.
the
canvass.
time I can see, but
Yeah.
if you read into what
That's about
our
it.
attorney had written, I could just put that no trespassing sign on my yard and be done with it.
Well, there's something I think that we could do that this brings out more of a light is doing some community outreach, maybe through the police. We train our children well, what to do with strangers and bullies and all that stuff, and we train, maybe talk to our seniors, but we don't talk to the regular homeowner about what do you do when someone's at your door, or what do you do?
You slam it in their face.
No, not just this, but I'm saying, I've been to things where, Detective Whitmore had come and he gave a community talk about what do you do, there's different things you can do at your house, not have bushes planted in front of, windows and all that.
This is a security thing now, we're going from people knocking on doors to
No,
security.
no, but there's things that we can do as a community that we don't do ordinances for, that we do community outreach for the police department, through education. That's what I just thought about, that we don't do that much.
Okay, I believe we live in a very safe town, we have a great police department.
I think so too, but do the residents know what to do?
Well, I think you're right that we don't, when we have done safety and security things, and it's normally targeted seniors because they tend to be
Right,
the most at risk for scams,
right.
and it's really geared in that aspect. It's, know what someone is selling, ask the right questions. It's okay to say no, that kind of thing. I'm sure there's something we could put together in terms of, I don't know,
I don't know how we would do it, but we should maybe talk to
personal
Brian.
self-defense against salespeople is.
But no, I'm just talking about other topics too. You know why I bring it up? Because I just got an email, because I'm a member of SPA 23. They just sent an email about people breaking into the cars in their parking lot.
That happens.
And they said it happens a lot, and they said to be very careful in that parking lot.
People
Now,
leave their pocketbooks in plain sight.
I know, so
And you're on
I'm
the
talking about, so
23
they're doing
corridor.
outreach to their community. And I'm not saying that we're gonna solve this here, and it's this is totally off topic, but I just think it's something that maybe you and Ryan could think about.
Sure.
Doing and it doesn't, it's voluntary.
There's a couple different avenues, but getting back to, this came up because there was a perceived problem in the regulation. When we started delving into it.
I think it's the time that
What
really
we
got
thought we
into it.
regulated, we really didn't regulate
Right,
at
right,
all.
right.
So.
I think we should ask the question about residents if they really want.
When we start trying to define what it is we're gonna regulate, and we ask those questions, well, who are we gonna
Right.
subject this to? Who has to register? Who's gonna be subject to the hours? And you answer all those
Becomes a
questions, right.
Right, it becomes
It-
administrative nightmare.
Right, and for
There's a
for
lot of
somebody to
different
knock on my
marketing
door
components.
twice in the last 5 years, I mean,
Right.
that's crazy.
Right,
And I
because
mean,
we had
This
a.
did come up because, this was a national company that hired someone to go out and go door to door trying to sell windows.
Right,
It's extreme rarity that you get something on that massive approach.
yeah, I think there was like 4 or 5 vans in town.
They
But
mess
Jay did
up,
get new windows instead.
But it's not only our town, they did many towns, but
Yeah.
if you really think we haven't done it,
No,
Right, that's what I said, I've lived here for so, how long?
I think we probably should, maybe to put it to rest, if it does rear itself again, we could put a survey on.
The only thing that I would be interested in is the timing on this, I mean, again, I don't
I
want
like the
someone
wording we
knocking
had in the
on my
timing,
door at
because I like the way you did the
9:00
timing.
Winter time.
Bob did the timing really well, the way he mentioned. Maybe that one paragraph we need to, would it fit?
I would agree with changing the time, put that in our existing ordinance.
And just regulate the itinerant vendors, don't regulate canvassers and solicitors?
Not at this time, until I think maybe we need to ask more about what the public wants, because if the public really has to understand what they would have to do.
Right.
So if we're just gonna write an ordinance that nobody's gonna wanna engage in, I don't wanna set.
Too much trouble.
Well, we can change the timing, because, going back to the very beginning of this, the timing in our ordinance, aside from the fact that we didn't regulate what we thought we were regulating, when you get past that, the timing that is identified is so late as to be not realistic, especially during winter hours.
Right. It's
So
too late.
if you want to take this, take smaller bites on this and just define itinerant vendors
Mhm. And I think you do.
and just regulate
Mhm.
the time within which they can legally, engage in that activity
And add that to
Start
our
there.
existing.
and do nothing else.
Yeah, I agree.
That would be my suggestion. I think that's very.
Require itinerant vendors to have permits like we do now.
Yes,
We'll start that, and then if
Okay.
we go
yes.
somewhere else, we'll
Yes.
address it again.
Okay,
And then the time where you talk about
Yep.
sunset
Yep.
and then
Time
sunset, the
and then-
National Weather Service, Northern New Jersey, all that.
so, yeah. now we're up to
Yeah.
sunset.
And if we get any more.
Hour after sunset.
Yep.
We'll take her home.
Nobody's
I
said
was
anything.
responding to her, she didn't hear me.
Facebook is the problem. That's where everybody,
Yeah,
airs
well, I
their-
don't see them here.
no, that's okay.
Okay.
No
We'll have it
problem.
For the next meeting now.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is the manager's report. Mr. Holberg?
And mine is fairly simple for tonight. 2013 municipal audit has been completed. Electronic copies have been posted to the website and filed with the state. Did we get
The hard copies we have done. We expect them either today or tomorrow.
my proposed 2015 budget is in your mailboxes. We'll just pick it up at this point. The overall budget increases by 2.5%. supported by a tax levy increase of 3.9%.
We haven't agreed to that.
Yeah, this is just a
That is
proposal.
my
Proposal.
proposed budget.
Proposal, that's not our proposal.
We are planning a presentation to council regarding walkable communities improvements on the 24th, which is our next meeting.
Oh, good. And who will that be by? Will that be Joe?
Joe, and we'll probably have traffic safety.
Okay, good. That'll be a good one. All right, next on the agenda, council reports and announcements. Councilman Cole?
The Solid Waste Committee met last Friday, and we're probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll be ready to make a recommendation to the council with some different options. Fair Housing also met last Wednesday. Not much, a few things going on there, but not much really that we want to talk about right now. And just a reminder that I will not be at the next council meeting because I will be in Dallas for work.
Okay. Councilwoman Florence Lynch?
Okay. The Economic Development Committee is meeting tomorrow night at 7:30. And let me see what else. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. It's the not the Economic Development, it's the Environmental Commission that's meeting tomorrow night at 7:30. The EDC already met after our last meeting, and they reorganized. Jeff Thierry is the chair, John DeRisi is the co-chair, and Louise Marchese is the recording secretary. Louise gave a good summary of the last EDC meeting. I was just going to also add that since that meeting, committee members have dropped off questionnaires to all the participating businesses in the property tax reward program last week. They ended up actually hand delivering them, and they're actually going back and picking them up in person to make sure they get them back. And then the committee will be reviewing them, and they're also working on some performance measures with FinCredit, and their hope is to report the findings within the next month. They're also working on a meeting with the real estate owners. So that's all I have on that, and the flood committee will be meeting on Thursday at 7:30.
Okay. Councilman Fallon?
Melissa, is that the information committee or the flood committee? Did we change the name on that? Seriously?
No, flood committee.
It's a commission.
It's a committee.
No, you're talking about EDC?
No, I thought we changed the name on the flood to the information committee or what?
Oh, you're right.
For something we had
No,
to.
they just had to do it for something with the,
Yeah.
they
You
officially
get points for
changed
that.
Oh, we got points for that.
points for it,
Right.
for the flood mitigation program.
Okay, the First Aid Squad had their casino night last Saturday. It was very successful. I think they had 155 people there, if I heard correctly.
It was huge. It was
It
a
was
huge.
huge. It was a huge hit. The First Aid Squad makes.
I forgot one of my chips.
Save it for next.
I found the chip in my purse.
Next year.
Okay, no gambling, please.
There's no expiration.
And that's my report.
Okay. Councilman Vanderhoff?
Tell them about the planning board committee, or meeting,
Which one?
the one we didn't have.
Oh, okay. Fire Company 1 Fire Department met last Friday. They were, I think this weekend, going out to look at the specs of the new truck, and construction of the truck should start very shortly. Company 2 will be meeting Thursday night after our budget meeting. And I got a request from council. I've been toying for a couple of years with what we can do to the C1 district to enhance it, get it to be rebuilt. Ask the council to visit Butler, Haskell, and see what has been done in the downtown district. Talk to landowners here, builders. The return per square foot, what we have right now, doesn't really facilitate rebuilding it. If you put the money into a new facade and rebuild, your return is just not there. The thought would be to make it 3 stories with 2 floors of apartments. A lot of work on the planning board, a lot of work for our planners. So I would ask the council to go look at some towns that have done it, take a look at it. If it's something you would consider supporting, then I'll take it farther and start with the planning board and start that type of work. But if it's something council will not approve, there's no sense of going through the process of trying to make it work. So
Well, I'll go visit the other towns. We all have an open mind here all the time.
I know. So,
What are some of the towns? Haskell?
Haskell's done it, Butler's done it.
Butler?
Can we do a field trip?
Yeah, field trip.
Yeah, I think we should do a field trip.
Good barbecue place in Butler, right there.
I don't know how we plan that, but there's a field trip.
And that's it.
Okay. All right, I have a couple things. Just a reminder, I don't know who's coming Sunday, February 15th to the Eagle Scout Court of Honor. That's at 3 p.m. Is anyone coming or is it,
If I don't have to work that day, I would.
plan on being
are you coming, Dave?
there. Yes, I plan on being there.
Okay. All right, so that's just a reminder. I have the thing all signed, so you don't have to worry about that. February 24th, we're having another presentation, so I think I'll skip that. The Relay for Life wants to come and do a presentation to council. It's going to be run, I believe, in Montville, but they very much want to include us in that. So I was thinking March 10th, I told them to pencil in. I just wanted to get everybody's okay if that's not jam-packed with budget stuff or anything.
No, I don't have anything else. No.
I told them 10 minutes.
Okay.
They want to show a short film, they want to outreach thing, and I told them, you know.
I got the impression from the letter, they don't think we were ever involved with it.
I don't know, it looks like there's some different
We were
people.
groundbreaking, actually, with it.
Exactly, right.
They knew that. They just know that it's been years since we really kind of
Gave a good push for it.
gave a good push for it because everybody kind of got tired out last time.
Okay. Is it okay for me to confirm back to them for March 10th then? Any pushback on it? So if you can put that on the agenda, Jay? It's Relay for Life. And it's a Brandy Engelberger. I'll send you the email so you have it, Jay,
Okay.
with all the details. And then as Louise said, there's a Bark Avenue. They're going to have a grand opening. They're asking for their support. So they have said this Saturday, which doesn't work for me, or the 21st. Actually, the 28th works best for me. How's everybody on the February 28th? Between 10 and 4.
Is that a Saturday?
Yeah, that'll
Yes.
I gotta work.
Okay.
So 10 o'clock is the,
They said between 10 and 4, so you can
Like
pick a
you guys
time.
can pick a time.
the pancake breakfast is that morning also, so it's,
So do it later.
You want to do it at 1 or 12? You want to eat lunch?
yeah, I can do 10:30.
You sure you can? That doesn't cut you too short?
Nope.
All
Do you have
right.
a preference on time?
They said between 10 and 4. You want me to tell them 10:30? Is that good for you, Melissa?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open.
Okay. All right, so I'll tell them
Will
10:30
you
on
send
that.
an email, Kathy, with the, after you talk to them?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Louise, so you got that right? We're going for probably the 28th at 10:30. All right,
Thank you.
all right.
I might have to go back to Vermont, but I'll let you know.
We'll work around it.
Yeah.
And everybody heard what Ed had to say about the Historic Commission doing the 275th anniversary. Here's some of the letters. He is trying to get the heads of all the organizations, and he doesn't have a complete list. I don't know if there's a complete list anywhere. We probably have a lot from the flood time, Dave. I sent it to Kathleen at the church, hoping she has a good email distribution. But I would hate to miss somebody, so I would rather tell them 2 or 3 times than miss somebody. So if you know anybody, like Dave, you know the people like with the baseball and different things, Bruce, like you have all their emails, Melissa, if you know anybody, heads of different things.
And last year, or maybe it was even the year before, I did have the clerk's office trying to pull all that stuff together, because if you look at
Well, she did,
somewhere
yeah,
on the website had some old information,
Mhm.
and then there was a lot of clubs missing.
right.
So I know they've been, I don't know. if they still-
Michelle did an email blast
Right, I saw
today,
that.
but it didn't seem to have
No.
nearly enough. So
Right.
everybody, if you could just, you know, even anybody you're hooked with, anybody you know, it's really just for heads of organizations. It's not for the organization to show up. It's just for somebody to listen so we can coordinate this thing so we don't all go off doing something different and we don't know when someone's going to be somewhere.
Can Denise send it out through constant contact, Dave?
Well,
You don't want it for
That-
everybody.
yeah, that's a very wide circulation. I mean, if you're just looking for heads organization.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just to start so that, you know, if you're gonna have a table at the street fair and you're gonna have 20 tables about the anniversary about the street fair, you know, we wanna make sure that it stays organized and people don't step on each toes and so that we don't miss an event that we should be at. So that's all that's about.
You should probably, I'm sure you did this, but working with the people people that pull together the vendors for the hoedown and stuff like that
Mhm.
with Parks and Rec. so
Yeah, well,
they-
Denise was included, yeah. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's all I have. So next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized, come to the microphone, and provide your name and address for the record.
Frank Spizzeri, 35 West Franklin Avenue. Just a question, you were talking about the historic preservation statutes, and I'm not privy to that, but is the word advisory in there, or can that be in there? If you make them just an advisory committee, then they have to
That's
come
what
to
they
you.
are. That
They
is-
are.
That is what they are.
It's just we have it titled wrong.
I don't think it's titled wrong, it's been that way forever. I mean, it's not,
Yeah, no,
it's a name for crying out loud.
I know, but,
The
I mean, if
commission
you're
has
trying
requested that
to,
it be looked at.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there's somewhere where we could live somewhere in the middle, I don't know. I'll go back to them and see what more they were looking for.
I think they were looking for statutory power, that's what they were looking for.
I don't think so.
right, but if you're making, like I said, if you make them an advisory, like, open spaces is just an
We were thinking
advisory.
about changing you to the Open Space Commission.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
No, it's all right. Thanks anyway.
You're welcome.
The other thing was, before I forget, when you have your planning board meeting, can you please give us a rep?
Right, we tried to appoint somebody at the last one, but it got canceled because of the snow.
Okay.
So
And,
we were thinking about you.
yeah,
Jay
but,
was.
We will get somebody.
just so you know, I know you guys didn't reappoint Bob Kraus, but I happened to talk to him at some place where we were having lunch. He was very upset with the fact that he wasn't reappointed. So I hope somebody, and he said all he got was a note saying that he wasn't reappointed. I think if he's been on that committee for so long, somebody should have called him and said, hey, sorry, Bob, but, you know,
Well, maybe they should recognize him for his service.
it's, I mean,
Right, we're not gonna discuss the reason why he wasn't.
whatever your reason was, I'm just saying that,
Legit.
you know, it would have been, how long has he been on that committee? A long time. So just to send him a piece of paper and say,
Well,
you're
maybe
you're
thanking
done.
him for his service. And
Yeah, it would be, and again, the problem is then you have to recognize a lot of other people for a lot of other things. You can't single out one person.
It's true.
Anyway,
Well, thank you for relaying that information. You know,
Yeah,
I'll
I
give
just-
him a call.
just to let you know he's upset about it. The other thing was, you're talking about solicitations. And I don't know whether you guys go on Facebook or not, but everybody's talking about, what do you do with Girl Scouts and like the football teams that go out and give you these cards that you can get discounts at stores? Is that included in there?
That's why
or
we're
is
not
it-
doing it.
Right, there's a couple
It's
of reasons
out.
why we're not doing it. Number one, it's
Okay.
over government, in my opinion, and.
So I think that should be conveyed.
It's too severe.
Joe, if you get a chance to, you're on Facebook all the time anyway.
We're gonna nominate Joe.
That's not his job.
Well, he can put it in as
No.
brought up as a
You know what?
subject, and it's not
If
on
they're
it.
interested, they should come to the official meeting.
Right,
Okay.
right, up to a meeting. Don't run it on Facebook, don't run the meeting on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Well, he does his
Too many
suburban
people
jobs.
ask questions on Facebook that are inappropriate and they're getting information that's not correct.
Yeah.
I'll chime in once in a while.
Yeah, I don't
But-
anymore.
I read it all.
You should have heard what they were talking about, the plowing. That was another whole fiasco today.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I know.
that's all.
I know.
I don't know how people have time all day long to sit on Facebook, I just don't.
They do it at work. Rocco.
Do it at work.
They do it at work.
Still Rocco Salucci. I still live at the same house in Pequannock. I have, one question is on the ordinance 2015-01. I know that you're gonna discuss not raising any rates from $100 a quarter that you have right now. Can you give me an idea how much money is there left over right now from previous year? You have a ballpark like Shea Stadium? Whoa,
There you go.
you know what I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna borrow it.
Okay. Parks and Recs, you still have a position open, or you're not gonna discuss it to fill it?
It's a personnel issue, we won't. That's a Dave issue.
Parks and
We
Recs,
won't.
is there?
I-
Oh, you're talking on the committee?
On the committee, I'm
Oh,
talking.
I'm sorry.
You got it.
We're gonna review that once we get all of the chairs and all that done. Once Jay will give us a summary, and we'll look at what's open, but we really don't appoint until June again.
Okay. And
So
by the
we'll
way,
solicit
as far as people soliciting, you have already a law, I think it's in the state or whatever it is, that as long as you put a sign out, no solicitation, that's good enough to bring the cops in case anybody forced themselves on it. My understanding, I'm not a lawyer yet.
I'm not an attorney either, and I'm curious about no trespassing, what people
We had a
do.
situation in Bloomingdale where we put a sign, no soliciting, somebody come in and we took some action, so I think that's one proper way of addressing, otherwise you leave yourself
But you
wide
actually
open.
filed a complaint then?
Yes.
Right, see, that's what people would have to do.
Once you have a
file
sign out
complaint.
there saying no solicitation, somebody kind of impose and push himself in or take advantage of one now then violate the law, so my understanding. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Once, twice? Mike? You good?
I'll
Okay.
make a motion to go to an executive.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.